Six pints of bitter, and quickly, please. The world's about to end.
Oh, yes, sir. Nice weather for it. Gonna watch the match this afternoon, sir?
No, no point.
Foregone conclusion that, you reckon, sir? Arsenal without a chance?
No, it's just that the world's going to end.
Oh, yes, sir. You said. Lucky escape for Arsenal if it did.
No, not really.
I'm a scary gargoyle on a tower that you made with plastic power.
Okay.
A few years ago, Astrid asked for a turntable for like Christmas or their birthday or something. I did get them one, and since then, they've gotten a decent little collection of LPs together. Everything from Stevie's The Secret Life of Plants to like Rush's Moving Pictures. And since we're down to just the last few albums of season 2, my thought was, when this season is over, I was just going to give them the albums that I've been accumulating over the course of this season, since most of them were Astrid's idea in the first place. When I brought this up with them, the one album they specifically mentioned they wanted was this week's album, Plastic Beach by Gorillaz. That's cool, but did you do your homework? Ah! What the hell happened to you? I'm virtual this week. Now answer the question. You're virtual. Look, you're listening to a virtual band. I'm your virtual inner critic. Now let's move past this. We have to discuss some things. Oh yeah? Like what? Like, did you do your homework like you said you would? I don't recall committing to any homework. Well, let me refresh your memory. I don't have an appreciation developed for the form. Maybe by the time I get to Plastic Beach by Gorillaz later on, I'll have a broader understanding. Yeah, I get... Yeah, that's fair. So how about it then? How much time have you spent getting yourself into the world of instrumental, producer-driven dance music? Not really much at all. I mean, if I'm honest, I do have to cop to the fact that there have been one or two Daft Punk songs swirling around in my head. They seem to get stuck there from time to time. Like I said at the time, that album has a decent vibe. So what do you know about Gorillaz then? What do I know about Gorillaz? Well, let's see. It's like 4 cartoon guys, but really it's just 2 real guys doing all the music. There's some tunes that Emily likes. I don't know what they are or what album they're on. Astrid taught me one of their riffs. Anything else? The other day when I was talking to Melody on the phone, and I said I was listening to Gorillaz, she mentioned something about sunshine in a bag. So maybe that's a reference? I think that's about it, though. So, no then. No what? No, you didn't do your homework. No, I guess not. Sorry.
Seem to keep drive on engines till they weep, with future pixels and factories far away.
Plastic Beach is one of my favorite albums of all time, I think. There aren't enough good things for me to say about this album. It's just, I love a good soundscape, and God does Gorillaz deliver on that.
Who is this god person anyway?
I mean, it has such a unique sound to it. I can't even describe it because it's so unique to this album, I think. It's just, it's beautiful. And as someone who's going into music production, I just love listening to it just to analyze and see how they produce things, to see if I can learn or benefit or replicate any of it. And it's just, this may sound weird for describing music, but this album's user-friendly, I think. It's good for beginner listeners, it's good for people that are looking into the production of it and who know a little bit more. It's just pleasing to listen to.
If I'm completely honest, I was half expecting that, like the Daft Punk album, there would be a few tunes on this album that were just a single 4-bar beat repeated for 5 minutes. Oh, the rhythm sections were still largely programmed and looped, but they were always part of a larger work. So that's one thing that I like about this album when compared to Discovery. And there was also a vibe throughout this album, but different. Where Discovery was more continental, sophisticated, French. Plastic Beach feels very British to me. The rap in White Flag, for example, sounds to my ears either Chav Cockney somewhere in there, or West India's Bahamian Bermudan somewhere in there. I'm not real great at telling those accents apart, but something like that. Eamon Valda from the New Wheel of Time series, somewhere in there.
All those who seek passage through our land must be properly questioned.
The groove in Superfast Jellyfish. That's deep.
Are you kidding?
Yo, pretty packages of frosted delights.
Look, it comes with a toll.
These first couple of listens, that's the song that so far gets stuck in my head most often. The synth lead on Glitter Freeze. I guess that someone in Gorillaz just discovered what a glide knob was. That got annoying fast. This here's one of my Moog synthesizers. This one happens to be a Sub-Fatty. Now, for those of you that don't know, most of Moog's synthesizers are what you call monophonic. That is, they can only play one note at a time. They cannot play chords. You're just going to get one note. Now, because they can only play one note at a time, they give you the ability to do some things like arpeggiate and a bunch of other things so that you can have more features in it. And one of the things they give you is glide. That's what this knob is for, is the glide rate. With the glide all the way down, it goes from one note to the next immediately. But by turning the glide rate up, you can slur the notes out, so it actually has to ramp up and down to each note. And that's what Gorillaz is doing in Glitter Freeze, is just... On Melancholy Hill, just about everything about that song. The sounds they use for the drum parts, the weird descending spaz synth bit, the fizzy backing pads, all of it reminded me of what I heard from Daft Punk a couple weeks ago. Sweepstakes. On one hand, it's kind of annoying. On the other hand, how often do you hear someone rapping against a 3/4 beat? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then there were a group of songs that seemed pleasant and inoffensive enough. Empire Ants, Broken, Plastic Beach, To Binge. They had interesting moments, a good amount of musicality. But as I was listening to them, I couldn't help but feel that there was a veneer of sarcasm behind some of these. Like these were meant to be style parodies rather than sincere expressions. Maybe it has something to do with the underlying message of consumerism and disposable culture that I'm starting to pick up on. Maybe after a week, some of these tunes will seem differently to me.
So call the mainland from the beach. The heart is now washed up in bleach. The waves are rising for this time of year.
There's some absolutely beautiful song. Empire Ants is just gorgeous. The titular song, Plastic Beach. I mean, that intro line with those synthesized parts, I mean, it's unforgettable. It's iconic. Rhinestone Eyes, On Melancholy Hill is just a gorgeous, gorgeous song. Makes me cry. I mean, there just aren't enough good things for me to say about this album. And
before I get too deep into the message or the vibe or anything else about the album as a whole, I want to point something out first. And that's this. Good heavens, are there a lot of different musicians on this album. So what do we got? We got Snoop Dogg, we got Bobby Womack, De La Soul, Mos Def, Mick Jones, and Paul Simonon, which I found out is the right way to pronounce his name. From The Clash, Sinfonia Viva, the National Orchestra for Arabic Music, Lou Reed. Definitely a collection I would not have anticipated to be all in the same place. Like that Shatner album. Ooh, that's right. For those of you that don't remember or don't know, William Shatner made a prog album about 10 years ago, 2013 I think, called Ponder the Mystery. And check out who he got to play on that album. Mick Jones, the other Mick Jones, not the Clash Mick Jones, the foreigner Mick Jones. Steve Vai, Edgar Winter, Al Di Meola, Robbie Krieger, George Duke, Zoot Horn Rollo, Rick Wakeman, and, of all people, Vince Gill.
Peace in the world and the war of anxiety.
Other than that, I don't know that I'm comfortable comparing Plastic Beach to Ponder the Mystery, even though they both have a widely eclectic set of guest artists and both are trying to make deeper points than the medium usually features. And I guess that brings me around to it. The fact that Plastic Beach, if not strictly a concept album, certainly seems to be a themed album. Just about everything on this album is themed around things like pollution, environmental damage, consumer culture, the notion of disposability, absent the repercussion of what comes after something is disposed of. And the observation I finally made is it's not just the lyrics painting that picture. The sarcastic vibe I was getting from some of the mellower tunes, I'm almost 100% sure that this is meant to convey a sense of artistic disposability as well. The song that gave me this insight, that put that into perspective for me, was Some Kind of Nature. I think that having Lou Reed sing that one song was the single smartest thing that Gorillaz did on this album. I don't know about for you guys, but in my case, I've kind of been trained. When I hear Lou Reed's voice, my brain immediately starts looking for the meta-narrative rather than focusing on the piece at hand. Lou Reed, to me, is shorthand for the music isn't the art. The music is the frame that contains the art. So in that context, if we see the entirety of Plastic Beach as not only a collection of songs that reflect our dangerous tendency towards unchecked consumerism, but also is in itself an artifact of those same consumerist tendencies, that arch metaphor, I think, is kind of brilliant. Of course, the downside to that is the actual music, right? It all collapses when someone asks the questions, what do you think of this song? Because song by song, the album is uneven. Musically, some of this album works for me. Some of it doesn't. It's still very British, though, for what that's worth.
And I don't know my dad's opinion as of like this current moment, but I hope he feels the same way too, or at least similarly.
Nobody knows what to do with the heat. Under sunshine pylons will meet while rain's falling like rhinestones from the sky. That's electric. That's electric. I can see you now, my heart is frozen, all the thousands, all the roses have been abstained in my soul.